are so focused on loving our neighbor right now.
Yeah, we really don't. It's very fascinating.
It is. And yet there is this...
Because you really can't love your...
Why? Yeah.
You
Why
really
should I bother,
can't love
honestly?
your neighbor if you don't love God first. Is that, or is it both at the same time?
I think Jesus is trying to say that they are so... I think if you really, really had to press because you needed that kind of obviously loving God is so if you go back to, it has to, right? So Augustine, the essence of sin is disordered love. Obviously, I can't love my neighbor if God isn't on the top. But I cannot be fully loving God if I'm not loving my neighbor because he told me to do it. Yeah. So if I'm not a loving person, then I'm withholding. I could be absolutely devoted all the. You see how they can't be separated?
And yet in the church, that's what we have separated a little bit. Like in my 20s, my journey I've talked about there, I just keep on with people that claim they love God, but they're not loving their neighbor.
Right.
And so I do think that the evidence of loving God is how I treat people that my neighbor, people I don't like. When I say people I don't like, I've got to be more clear. Just people different than me, right? Yeah. Or people that I have disagreement with.
Or people I don't understand.
Yeah. In a
just
raw
others.
Way, in a raw way, Brian, if Christians are just idiots.
But don't you think that's Paul's emotion?
It
you
really,
foolish Galatians.
You are missing the point of love.
Yeah.
I think it's a raw emotion, but it's what I watch preachers. I go, what? I was watching someone the other day. What? And I want to go, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with everything you're saying.
Yeah. Right.
But I'm not agreeing where it's coming from.
No.
So that's I mean, the other day I was doing that, Brian. I agree with everything you're saying.
Yeah. Why do you have to be such a
Why do you have to be such an idiot?
Yeah.
So why do Christians...
Which this doesn't sound very loving, so I'd be...
No, that's true. Well, I would acknowledge maybe it's not coming from the best place, but
there is
that's okay to show the world that we're human.
I mean, there's a little bit of outrage because if you take James seriously, James would say, how else am I going to know? Yeah. How else am I going to know that you really love God if you don't love people? Yeah. James would say, that's why James says, pure and undefiled religion before the Lord is this, care for widows and orphans in their distress.
Yeah, absolutely.
How is anyone ever going to know?
And Brian, let me just say, I can, this is real important to say, I can disagree with someone and still be loving.
Absolutely.
I can have a high standard and because we believe some really radical things about sin. Mm-hmm. We believe that is sin. Right. Whatever we want to call it. That, by the way, gossip is in that list.
Right. Yeah.
But what they're doing, we go this far, they are sinning.
Right.
I agree with that. I'm not minimizing the sin. I'm saying I can't deal with the sin if I don't love them first.
Yeah. Because Jesus himself was a friend of sinners.
So I say, period. If I try to deal with the sin without loving, I become...
a monster.
A monster.
Yeah.
And so I go, let's love and deal with the sin. And it's not, but if you don't really love, if for example, when we talk about sin and we don't choke up a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Or we talk about whatever subject. Mm-hmm. Sexual identity. And we just don't a little bit choke up, then something's wrong with us.
Yeah.
It's just... And if we don't realize my sinfulness,
and then when we revel in the coming wrath, because now that we're doing this, I get more like preachers on my YouTube feed and all that kind of stuff, and it's just people are like, man, they're really looking forward to people dying and going to hell. It's like you are excited about people dying and going to hell and being judged for eternity.
Right? It's like we are.
Yeah,
it's like we really are because it's not coming from love for God. That created this world so you have a relationship with us.
Right.
That breaks the heart of God. And it's not coming from love for the people. So it's coming from, I don't even know where.
No, because honestly, there are a few things more in a relationship. One of the most really upsetting things is when the person you love doesn't care about what you care about. Right? Think about that just a little bit. Yeah. Now, they don't have to like it. They don't have to go nuts for it. But there have been plenty of times in my married life where I didn't care about something that my wife really, really cared about. And it kind of hurts your feelings when that happens, doesn't it? It does.
Yeah.
It just does, because the person you love doesn't love what you love. And you can't share it.
And yet real love, it's okay.
Well, but what I mean by that is if I really love God and then I don't care about what he cares about, that hurts him.
Yeah.
that hurts him.
You know what James says there? James 3, I'm going to try to bring this up. Out of the same mouth comes praise and cursing.
Yeah.
But his argument there, how can you one moment praise God, one moment praise God, the Father, and yet the next moment curse men
who are created
in God's image?
You're right.
Okay, think about this.
This guy gets it.
Yeah, no. I mean, think about that, Brian. And I memorized, as you know, half the New Testament when I was a teenager.
Right.
And I memorized that. How can I worship God, then curse the thing that God created?
You can't.
James
is saying you can't actually do it.
Does he say? He doesn't say God forbid that. He said it just cannot be done.
He said, brothers, it should not be this way.
This should not be.
It should absolutely not be this way.
And so you can't separate the two.
You can't.